And for this round, we're going to go with Bomb Diggy versus Lusticar. I don't know about you two, but I think that 2020 probably had one of the most hotly contested Game of the Year debates. There was basically the entire gaming community was split as The Last of Us Part 2 basically took the crown in almost every category, with half of the people saying it was well-deserved and half of the people saying, what the hell, this was actual trash. Why did this get Game of the Year? So I want to ask you guys, this is an open-ended question, by the way. What do you guys think the Game of the Year for 2020 should have been?
I'm ready.
Somebody call the coin flip.
What was the Game of the Year?
Lusticar, I'll let you have that.
Heads.
Last of Us Part 2 won Game of the Year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It did. And it was a very hotly contested debate. It is heads. Lusty, first or second?
Second.
1 minute 30 on the clock. Bomb, you are going first, and your time begins now.
So rather than debunking The Last of Us, because I do think that's a very strong story-driven game. I know a lot of people love it. I haven't played it. Another game I haven't played, but that I think hands down would win this just from watching it from my brother playing, Red Dead Redemption 2. I have no clue why this isn't the Game of the Year. The amount of diversity you can have with this game through playing the story mode, through playing role playing. I know content creators are uploading so much content on YouTube right now. I wish Twitch would do more with it. I know a lot of people are doing Rust RP right now, but I think Red Dead Redemption. Huh?
It came out 2 years ago.
What?
Red Dead 2. It came out 2 years ago.
Meta doesn't know dates. He's wrong. It came out in 2020.
Oh, Meta, I didn't realize you were debating. Can I be teamed up against you next round?
Yeah, same here, Meta.
Honestly, I just Googled the competition for 2020 and it said Red Dead Redemption.
You Googled and you somehow got all fucked up and managed to talk about a game from 2018.
No. So the reason that he's talking about 2020 release, he's talking about the PC version, which was released in 2020. It was like a marvel. So
also, Red Dead Redemption is available on Switch now.
And the modding that can come from it being imported to PC through Steam is actually impeccable. I mean, if you've seen Skyrim and the amount of mods that can go into it, that just boosted the game further along. And again, I didn't play it, so I am ignorant on some of the things they brought up. But it was supposed to be. It was one of the volunteers or participants to be Game of the Year for 2020. And I think it not being Game of the Year is just no shot, just a total upset. The amount of mods that you can do on Steam, again, I haven't checked it, but just the immersion I had from watching my brother play was immaculate. And I just don't see all you can do with The Last of Us Part 2 compared to the diversity of Red Dead Redemption.
All right. Lusticar, 1 minute 30 over to you, sir. Your time begins now.
Sure. So my personal favorite for the contender of the Game of the Year is going to be the game Hades. I don't know if many of you have experience with that. I love roguelike games. They're beautiful games. But Hades specifically has this very beautiful art style that they have managed to cultivate in such a way that it's beautiful, it's pleasing, it's responsive, and it doesn't hinder performance. The game runs very smoothly. You can achieve great FPSs on many machines with the game. But moving past like just the performance, the game actually has some very good, beautiful storytelling elements. As you progress, the voice acting gets more impeccable. There's a bunch of little interactions that come and go, and it's very immersive. It's such a beautiful, well-designed game that I think it is deserving of its overwhelmingly positive support from the community, and the developers have voiced their opinions on that. They've voiced their gratitude, and they continue to work with their communities to provide the content that the communities want. And I think that's a beautiful thing, and that most developers should also do that and consider that.
All right. 1 minute 30 back over to you, Bomb. Your time begins now.
Hades was released early access on Epic early last year in 2020, and I would say it has come a long way. I still think it's in its infancy, and that's almost why I like my pick for Red Dead Redemption, because it's had that time to develop, to whereas Hades, I've played it religiously. It is fun and beautiful, and the major flaw with it is that it's released in 2020. And games that are released now in 2020 like to do that early access. They need some funds. It really does help the production of game development, and I understand why they do it. It is not a complete game in and of itself right now, Hades. The amount of gameplay and replay value you can get from it would be about around 22 hours. I'd say about a normal Pokemon game. You'll beat it in about 8, and you'll have some fun replaying the game. It's still way too early in its time. I think it was just released about 2 months ago as an actual game. They're updating it every few months. So I think 2021, I think Hades is a great pick. But for right now, for 2020's game of the year, I think the extensive modding, the RP replay value, and the story itself in Red Dead Redemption is so much longer, and investing money into these things is important. There's a lot of games that come out and they're like $60+, so money is important here. And if you want replay value and longevity in your game, Red Dead Redemption is your best bet.
All right, Lusty, 1 minute 30, back over to you. Your time begins now.
Sure. So the issue that I'm seeing with Red Dead Redemption and many other games along that side of the genre is we as a community, and a lot of the gaming society has revolved around battle royales, League of Legends, things that don't involve a lot of commitment to play. Whereas Red Dead Redemption, I understand, has a beautiful modding community. It's a beautiful game. However, it's very long and has a lot of attention required for you to play it. So I feel like our society today is more geared towards the fact that they want shorter games. They want to hop in and out. They want to play their Hades game, do their run through, and move on, rather than commit, do missions.
I want to go in
soon. So they want their time, what little time that they do have within their workday. Or whatever day, you may be going to the gym, you may have other lifestyle choices, whatever little time that you have set aside for video games. People want to get in and out and get that fulfilling experience with their game, rather than, oh crap, I got to get off. I didn't finish this on Red Dead. I didn't finish that. I need to do this. I need to do that. With Hades, you're just in and out. You have a good time, and you are compelled by that beautiful story.
All right. 1 minute back and forth. Bomb's itching to go.
Shorter? You want shorter games?
Okay, and no.
Just tell me to go.
No, I have not. The timer has not been set. Please restrain yourself.
And begin. The women.
Your time. Both of your times begin now.
Okay, you just want another Cyberpunk release? You just want another half-ass game to be shot out there for the quick monies? You want the quick attention span? Shorter game, shorter this, appease the fucking Zoomer millennial? No, fuck that. The best games to date are from 90s and early 2000s. Don't at me in chat. Every game since then, catering to the fucking attention span. Shorter fucking this, shorter fucking that. Let me do an early release and then do a fucking loot crate so you can buy into it. Fuck that shit. Fuck Hades. Red Dead Redemption.
All right, so I'm gonna take the next 30 seconds then. So, Bomb Diggy, I'm gonna go ahead and say that I wholeheartedly agree with you. I love committed games. I play fucking World of Warcraft like no other. I spend so much time on this. So I agree with you. However, logistically speaking and logically speaking, that is what our society has come through. We do want shorter games. I don't, but the majority does, and that's what they have to cater to.
And as someone who plays WoW, do you not see how catering to this new generation has destroyed?
And that's time.
Some of the best games Blizzard has come out.
That is time. 3 minutes, judges. The floor is yours. Your time begins now.
I got a very important question. So, which of the two games do you think holds up best against the actual game of the year Among Us and its impact that it has?
Wow, Ziggy, how are you gonna spell Half-Life Alyx like Among Us? I have a real question too.
Among
Go
Us
ahead,
came out 2 years ago. Just quick. So if in fact and I don't know exactly how it's determined, but if shorter games are the preferred, then how did The Last of Us 2 win? Because it's a very long game.
Right, so it's a single player story game, and I feel like a lot of the votes that came across and voted in favor of The Last of Us were strictly political. If I'm being 100% honest with you, a lot of it was strictly political, and it catered towards gender neutrality and gay, bi, lesbian, all it catered towards all of that more than just the storytelling of the game.
And I think me and Lustakar can both agree that it is a very beautiful game that has a great story, and for all the points that he said, but for it being game of the year, I take replay value so seriously.
That's a good question.
Why?
So
Okay.
as far as replay value goes, which game has better replayability? So after you've completed the game, playing it a second time.
I almost want to fight for you here,
games?
I almost want to fight for you a bit because Hades is a roguelike. So I'll let you start, Lustakar, if you want.
Sure. So with roguelike games and that whole genre, literally the premise of the game is replayability. Because every single run you do is always different. You have all kinds of builds, all kinds of different things that you can do. And once that game starts getting opened up to a modding community, then the replayability will skyrocket.
Which is exactly why 2021 should be your contender, Hades. But it hasn't had that time to bloom, and the devs are still doing updates. Even when you launch the game in Hades, they tell you when the next update for Hades is, because it's still in its infancy, and they want you to know that they're going to make it better. It's just not where the end game needs to be for a game of the year. It's not finished.
Sure.
The developers are even telling you that when you sign into the game. But it's because of that I love Hades and think that 2021 game of the year, Hades would be perfect.
How do you think that the game of the year works year by year?
I actually don't know.
I was just asking Tom because I'm confused how
I mean, I'm pretty...
I just want to say real quick, so I understand that the game is in its infancy, but that also doesn't discredit the fact that the community is extremely supportive. They love the game, and they still replay it in its infancy, and they adore the game. And, all of the relationships that they have between community and developer, I don't think that should be overlooked.
You're right, it shouldn't, but if you want to argue what's more mainstream, Red Dead Redemption or Hades, I mean, the community with being mainstream...
That is time. We now go on to voting. Who debated better? Was it Lustakar advocating for Hades? Or was it Bomb Diggy advocating for RDR2? Okay, 3 minutes to vote. 3 minutes to vote. Judges, the time is yours. Who do you think did it better? Let's start with Pickstart.
Okay, so really quick, I just want to say both of you are wrong. It's Half-Life Alyx is the best game of 2020. But when it comes to the actual argument, I think that for me, I'm gonna have to side with Bomb. And the reason being is because I love roguelites. I play the fuck out of some Enter the Gungeon still to this day because I love every run's different, just like Lustakar said. But for me, when I think of what makes a game great and stands out as the game of the year, I'm gonna look at it, it's the progression. It's starting out as the very bottom and progressing so far that I get to this point at the end where I'm something completely different. And for me, I have to give that to Bomb.
All right, one vote for Bomb, whose camera froze. I think he's
having internet issues.
Yeah, his connection is not doing too well right now, but we'll keep it rolling. Perry, who did it better?
It's a hard one, but I'm also gonna have to go with Bomb on this. Asking the question of if you're gonna make the argument that long games are not preferred, but a long game won, but then you don't really answer that. You just kind of throw out a random kind of, in a way, a red herring of, oh, it was about the politics. That's not really answering the question. I just think Bomb really had a lot of difficulty starting the argument off, had some road bumps, but overcame those quite well.
I'm ready to vote.
All right, 2. All right, Micah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I also did not like how Lustakar responded to Perry Nova's question. I feel like he avoided talking about his game and instead stumped on the other game, which is a tactic if you don't think that you can stand up for your game. But I have to vote for Lustakar because Bomb Diggity argued against himself 3 times. He argued against himself for replayability. He argued against himself when he was talking about the validity of his game because it came out at the end of the year and it should be in 2021 when his game came out years ago. And there's one other one and now I can't remember, but so if you're gonna be in a debate, even if you know good points against yourself, you shouldn't bring them up. So
all right,
he gets my vote.
I'd argue against that.
That's another for okay. All right. Let's keep it one at a time. Pickstart, who did it better?
No, I already
you already asked Pickstart.
Oh, I did.
I was just arguing against Micah.
Bomb's camera dying fucked up all the camera locations, so now I'm just like going down again.
You can't argue the validity of somebody's game.
There he is.
Okay, like what I'm trying to state is that if you can like argue your opponent's case for them, then that shows that you're knowledgeable on the actual subject.
If you can counter it.
Okay.
And what
Micah, that's bullshit. Honestly, that's fucking bullshit.
If you can counter it, is exactly right, because you shouldn't just like randomly bring up a stronger argument against your point. But if you're like, oh yeah, no, I know exactly what you're saying, but here's the counter argument.
I know everything about Hades.
Okay, all right.
Talking about the replayability of the game and how it's limited compared to RDR's 2's replayability of the game, as well as I'm not going to go on.
Now that I've been thrown thoroughly off track, who has not voted yet?
Me.
All right, everybody, so raise your hand. Raise your hand. I think Earthly, Coriander, and Ziggy. Yeah, you haven't voted yet. Okay, so Ziggy, who did it better?
I'm gonna piggyback off the Pixar. I think you're both wrong about the game of the year. It's definitely Among Us, but
it came out 2018.
I agree with that too, but it's R-rated. Anyways, I think Bomb won that argument. I think he had better points, and I think he kind of targeted some of Lusticar's counter arguments a little bit better.
All right. Earthly, who did it better?
So I'm gonna have to go with Lusticar because, like, I mean, Bomb's argument to me was really flawed from the get-go because it was just saying that like a PC port of a game from 2 years ago is apparently like the game of the year, which is already a really bad foundation. Because I just like you have to at least remake a game before I think it can even be like a game of the year contender.
Yeah, well, I wasn't gonna say Warcraft. Like that's not what I was gonna say.
Yeah, fair enough. But like, anyways, and I think a lot of Bomb's arguments that a lot of people have given him a lot of credit for even kind of contradict the points he's trying to make because he brought up replay value. Red Dead Redemption has like a tens of hours long campaign where there's not a lot of player choice. So like I would never want to replay the single.
I quote unquote I said 8 hours. Quote unquote I said 8 hours. I said 8 hours storyline. Quote unquote end quote.
Red Dead 2, not 8 hours, dude. That shit's like 50 hours.
It's all in roleplay.
Thousands upon thousands literally
Red Dead on top of that, dude, and on top of that, the single player element of that game too has like a very large sandbox where you can do side objectives as well because you.
Okay, all right, we gotta move this forward. Earthly has voted for Lusticar. So Coriander, who did it better?
Well, I would vote for Lusticar's curly mustache, but he doesn't like it when people vote emotionally. So I was gonna give it to Bomb because I felt his argument structure was pretty good. I don't see an issue with bringing up elements of his opponent's argument. He even said, "Here, I'll throw you a bone." But I don't even think that stands up to. I thought he brought up good points about the game not being finished. Neither of you said Animal Crossing, so I kind of don't agree with any of you. But I'm gonna give it to Bomb.
All right.
Do you actually think Animal Crossing? Because I was so upset with Animal Crossing.
To be frankly honest, I haven't played any of the games of the year because I didn't own a Switch until about 2 weeks ago, and I don't have a computer that can run high-powered games. So I played Red Dead 2 on my friend's Xbox, and I killed his horse. So I'm not gonna go off my own bias.
Okay. Well, Bomb is going to walk away with that with the round. Yes! Congratulations, Bomb.
I hate Bomb.
That's scary. I finished my drink.